Hi, I'm Dave from Hector's Smokehouse. Welcome to the channel if you haven't been before, and if you're a returning visitor, welcome back again. Today is going to be the second part of a two-part video that I put together over the last few weeks. I started to have questions asked of me about what type of vacuum sealer I used. So the previous video I did was looking at a chamber vacuum sealer, which was the Polyscience 300. And if you want to see the review of that, there is a link up here. And also the other one I actually use is this one, which is the Lava V400 Premium. This is a European brand of vacuum sealer, very similar to the Sunbeam. Now, the main reason I actually bought this was because I do a lot of competitions. And when I do the competitions, I can actually prepare meat prior to going to the competition. I'm not allowed to inject it or put rubs to it, but I can actually trim meat up. So the main reason for getting this was to allow me to be able to prepare briskets and pork butts prior to the actual competition. The sealing area of this V400 is 18 inches or 450 millimeters. And that makes a really big difference if you're trying to do briskets or pork butts. So I'm able now to prep 2 briskets before a competition and actually vacuum seal them. So I can get hold of bags that are 15-inch bags or 15-inch rolls that come from Cabela's, or you can actually buy 18-inch ones as well, the 450 mil. So this is really useful for me. Also, the other benefit of getting this was the seal itself is a triple seal. So it seals in 3 places at the same time, rather than the one of most typical Sunbeam models. And that means there's less chance of anything leaking or any problems with it. So what I'll do is I'll go through the features, explain how it works, and give you some examples of using it for containers and also for jars as well. So I hope you enjoy the video. Please, if you do, give it a big thumbs up, and I'll show you what it does now. This is the Lava V400 Premium. So this comes from Germany, so it's manufactured across in Germany. I did buy it from Germany and had it shipped across a couple of years ago, but you can now actually buy these in Australia as well. So if I go through the main controls first, the problem with this part of this is a lot of the controls are actually labelled in German, so it's quite difficult to actually understand what you actually do with it. So the first thing I did was I put small labels on, so I understood exactly what it did and what it didn't do. So when I go through, the first one is the sealing time. So this tells you how long it's going to actually take to seal the bag. Typically, I have that set at about 5 seconds for a sealing time. Then you've got the actual vacuum and what it's actually pulling on the meat or the produce that you've got. Typically, again, I'm looking for somewhere between 0.8 and 0.9 is at the point where I'm going to do a vacuum. Then it's got an automatic and a manual switch, so you can do it manually or automatically. You can click here between a container or the bag. So if you're using the bag, it's going to go from here. If you're going to use a container, there's a slot in here where you can actually put a hose and you can do containers using this slot. This then adjusts the actual vacuum itself. So if you're doing something more delicate, you can turn the vacuum down so it doesn't pull as hard and draws out the meat or crushes the meat, because this is powerful enough to actually crush a can when it's fully on. And then at this end, if you're using manual, this allows you to manually seal the bag. So what you do is actually put your finger down and you keep it pressed and this lights up. And once it gets to the 5 seconds, it goes off and you can release it. And then the final one is Aus and Ein, which is off and on as well. So those are the main controls that you actually need to use when you're using this. So for most of the applications I actually use bags that come on a roll. So you can see these come on a roll, and then what I do is just trim them. You can get different width bags to change to suit the cut that you're actually doing or the type of product that you're sealing. And then once you've trimmed it, that's what you end up with, is a bag the size you actually need. As you can see from these bags, they've actually got like a corrugated layer inside. This allows the air to be vacuumed or pulled out as it's actually sealing. This is really important for this type of vacuum sealer. This is the part that's very different if you've got a chamber sealer where it's just 2 pieces of plain plastic. On this, it costs more to actually produce these bags, so these bags are typically more expensive. So the first thing you'd want to do if you're doing this, is you would want to seal the bag or the first end of the bag. So you'd put that in there, you drop it down, and then you turn it on. I've got this set to manual, and then I'm going to press the manual seal, and you'll see the light go off after 5 seconds. So that's it. Now I know it's sealed, I can turn it off. I open it up, and what you can see there is you can see there's 3 seals in the bag. This makes sure that there's less chance of you getting any leakage or any problems. So first of all, I'll go through the manual way of actually vacuum sealing something. So what I'll do is I'll take this Sony remote control, put that into the bag. So I'll put that in the bag, open this up, put it in. What it's got to do is the bag's got to go over this lip, because this is the vacuum, where the vacuum seal, where the vacuum gets sucked out. So it's got to go over there. And then the black part is where the 3 areas are where it actually creates the seal. So you close that. So if I'm doing this manually, I've got this to set to bag. I've got this set to manual. I've got this set to 5 seconds. I'm going to turn it on. And I'm looking for this to get up to about 0.8, 0.9. So I can see it got up to about 0.8, 0.9, and at that point I'm going to press the manual seal button. So again, it'll go for the 5 seconds, and it goes off. So that's the item actually sealed, and that's pulling a very strong vacuum. If you want to do this automatically, you'd do the same thing. You'd put the edge over, so you're creating the vacuum, close the lid, set this to automatic, set it to bag, got the seconds set to 5 seconds, and then you turn it on. So what it should do this time is it'll start to take the vacuum out, it'll get to about 0.9, and then it'll create the vacuum, the seal itself. So there you go, you saw it seal the bag itself. It took it to about 0.9, 0.95 before it sealed it. Now that's fine if you're doing something that you can put a full vacuum on, but obviously if you need to do something that's more delicate, you're going to turn the vacuum down. Now if you want to vacuum seal something that's a lot more delicate and you want to really back off, again, you'd put it into the slot. Now, because you're going to do this and back it off, you're going to turn it to manual, and then you're going to start turn it on and start the vacuum. But what you'll see is this will go all the way around. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to back it off by releasing some of the vacuum here. So I'll turn it on, and you can see it's got a full vacuum. You can see it's getting round to that 0.9, 0.95. Now, if I just turn this, what you'll see is it start to come down. So you can set your vacuum, say to 0.06 or 0.6, sorry. You've got it set there, and then at that point you can actually do the manual seal. So this allows you to do more delicate things such as fish and different types of fruit. So that's it sealed. You can see it's sealed in there, but it's not as strong a seal as you would have got if you'd have done it automatically or if you'd have taken it up to that 0.9. So you can adjust this pretty well. The next thing that's useful to do is to be able to vacuum seal containers. And it does a good job of this, but there is a few problems. So what you do is, obviously you don't need the sealing time, that doesn't matter. Got it set on manual. We're going to set it to container, and then we're going to turn it on and make sure the vacuum's on. These shouldn't go past about 0.4, should be about the maximum you go, otherwise they could implode. Now when you open this, you've actually got one of the vacuum ports is here, and the other vacuum port is there. So this is the tool you use to create the vacuum, and you're going to plug it into there. Now the problem is that it's also drawing a vacuum from there, so that it gets no vacuum. So you've got to put something over the end of there to actually make sure that there's a vacuum actually starts to form. So what I've done is I've just put that on the end of there. Now with these particular containers, what you'll see is there's a blue nipple, an orange nipple there, and that'll actually get sucked in once it's under vacuum, once it gets to about that 0.4. So what we're going to do is we'll turn it on. We're going to click this to container. we're going to put that on. You'll see this starts to go up to about 0.4, and then when we get to just over 0.4, we'll turn it off and take it off. What you can see is that has actually gone in, so it's under vacuum now. Now if I actually press the button, you'll hear the noise of it expelling the air, and it'll create the vacuum will disappear. So there you go. So this works really well. As I say, the only problem you've got is where this side is trying to draw a vacuum and there's nothing to actually go in there in the kit. So you're going to have to put something over one of the ends to actually do that. But once you do that, it draws a vacuum really quickly. Only takes a few seconds. Keep it to about that 0.4 and to make sure that it doesn't create too much of a vacuum and cause the container to crack or to break. Another option you've got for using this is to actually use vacuum sealing jars. So if you've got preserves or pickles or anything like that you want to use, you can use these type of jars. This one just has a lid that sits on top. You've got the vacuum sealer here, and you can then make sure you cover the port up again. You're going to put this on without the screw part of it and create a vacuum on that lid. So we'll just put this on and push it right down, and then we'll turn this on, get it to about 0.4 and then stop it again. So you could hear it pop. That means the vacuum has gone into it. So what we've done is turn that off. We'll lift this off now and have a look, and hopefully we'll see that the lid is stuck on there, and you can see it's pushed in. So what you can do is you put that on then and fasten it down. Then obviously when you want to pop it, you'd hear it, listen to the air come out. There you go. And it's created the vacuum in there. So that's another really good use for these as well, is to be able to use containers to seal in. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. It gives you a really good idea of how this Lava V400 Premium actually works. As I said to you before, the main reason I bought this was because of the 18 inches, the 450mm of vacuum space that allows. And that's allowed me to do a lot of things with barbecue competitions, being able to put briskets and pulled pork and those type of things into here. So I found it wonderful. It's actually built really, really well. It's built like a tank. It's incredibly strong, incredibly heavy and well built, but it does come at a premium. It's coming from Germany. It is very expensive. But if you're prepared to spend that sort of money, it's well worth it. If you're just doing normal day-to-day sealing, then maybe this is a bit of an overkill. But if you're doing your own butchering, say you're a deer hunter or someone like that, this would be perfect for putting your own cuts of meat into. So I can highly recommend it. I've also got the vacuum chamber sealer as well. Totally different beast to this. It allows me to do liquids and individual bags rather than the rolls, but it's a lot smaller in terms of the actual size of the meat that I can put in. So I can see that I'm going to end up using both of them for different applications, and over the coming months I'm going to be using these a lot to do some sous vide videos as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and please press down there and subscribe to the channel. Look forward to talking to you next time.